The term steward comes again from the Anglo-Saxon, and it means stye-ward, the warden of the sty, the person who takes care of the pigs. That was because in a household during that time in England, the hogs, the swine, were the most important economic product of the family. So the person who cared for them was very, very important. For us as stewards, it means that we are caring for things that don't belong to us. For example, this entire creation is a gift from God. Everything we own, we claim to own, is a gift from God.
I find that stewardship involves how we go about living our life. That is particularly true as we look at 3 scripture passages. First is the creation story itself. If we look at that first chapter in Genesis, we see that persons are created, humanity is really created, to be in charge of the creation that God has made, to see that the goodness that God created. In fact, it says that it was sublimely good. That's the way God saw the creation. And humankind was to keep that going. The second passage really comes from a parable of Jesus that deals with talents, the giving of talents to 3 stewards who were of the household. These 3 stewards were given specific amounts of money according to the gifts that they had, and they were to use those as the master would use them. And that says to me something very important. How are we faithful in that which we have been given and entrusted with, no matter what that is? And the third is the story, the writing from the Apostle Paul, as he says, we are to be stewards of the mysteries of God. We are to be the stewards who pass on the stories that God has shared with us and help us to have insight into who God is and how God relates to the world in which we live. So those 3 images stretch. It really says we are gifted, we are entrusted with that which we need to do. We then are to manage and use those in ways that enhance the world in which we live. That's a much broader definition, because then it begins to apply to all of life. At the heart of stewardship, I think there's the question, do we see life as a gift from God? We see all the contacts, all the relationships we have as God's gift to us. And then we have to make a response to those gifts. How are we going to use those gifts to enhance the world around us? That becomes this crucial stewardship question for me.
To take everything we have and honor it by putting it to use would be a radical departure from our disposable culture. You use something, you throw it away. Someone comes into your life, you throw them away when the time is right, you think. What would happen if we decided we were to be stewards of those things, of those people who come into our lives, that they're not disposable, that in some way or other they are gifts from God, not for us to use just for our own purposes, but for us to honor, for us to allow that thing to fulfill the purpose it was created for, to allow that person to fulfill the person he or she was created to be. I wonder what would happen if we imagined that stewardship in our households, in our churches, congregations, in our larger community, could be that kind of taking care, not only of the material goods we have, but of those people who enter our lives as well.
I want to encourage you to think about someone in your life that models stewardship and do something to honor them. If they're still alive, you can write them a note or have an intentional conversation. And if they're gone, you can do something else, maybe adopt one of their practices, one of the ways in which they care for the gifts that God has given them. A second thing we can do to participate with stewardship is right here at West End United Methodist Church. We have raised bed gardens in our parking lot, and we will be planting sometime this week or next as spring is in the air. If you'd like to participate with that, you can donate plants, you can plant with us, and especially we'll need folks this summer to water them every day. You can contact me for more information.